Whoa,
All
whoa,
right. All
whoa.
right. We are live. Welcome, welcome, everybody. The Crosschain Council, episode number 5.
Yeah, baby.
How you guys doing?
Oh,
Dude,
doing well, Rod. Doing right. It's a busy time for all of us, busy time for crypto and Web3.
Yeah.
But hey, we're here, and I think we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah. Same. How about you guys?
Lots of exciting stuff, on the horizon. I think there's a lot of positive catalysts that are really going to drive this bull run here towards the end of the year. Q4 tends to be the most fruitful when it comes to crypto. And so I'm anticipating that the next, 2 months are really going to be, some upward movement, maybe some turnarounds when it comes to traditional finance. And so love to get into some of the events that are on the horizon.
dude, today is 9/11.
Yep.
Yeah.
What were you guys doing? What the fuck were you guys doing when 9/11 happened? Because I remember I woke up to go to school. I'm in high
I was in
school
high
or some
school.
shit.
Yeah.
I was about to go into video editing class. I wake up, I turn on the TV, and there was the first fucking plane in that building, right? And it was crazy. By the time I got to school, the second one had hit. It was just like, what was going on? It was like a weird feeling. I still kind of remember that day. What about you guys? But the world sort of changed forever after that, it seems like. And
Oh yeah.
especially today, because I'm stressing out. You guys see what's happening when Russia flying drones over Poland and shit, and
Yeah.
Israel, Qatar, and then just what happened here in America with Charlie. It's
Charlie
been
Kirk.
a
Yeah.
crazy week, dude. Our world is like so insane. I'm glad we can talk about all this through the lens
We
of crypto and money. That'd be
even
great.
just before Charlie, that girl on the train too, right? That like girl that got
Yeah.
stabbed.
Yeah, the
Crazy
Russian girl, right?
times.
Or
Yeah, a couple
Ukrainian.
shootings.
Ukrainian. Yeah, I
What
did.
happened?
On the
I didn't hear
so
about that one.
Yeah, well, that was part of the problem is it wasn't reported. Or actually, that one was reported. No, the never mind. It just depends which channels you're looking at, right? They all have a very specific focus. But no, so a Ukrainian girl, refugee, was riding on a train and literally just got stabbed. Like, dude just
Stabbed
pulled
in
out
the
a
neck.
knife,
Yeah.
stabbed, walks away. He's like, I got that white girl. I think he's schizophrenic. It came out later that he already had like 14 arrests and like he had been released. Uh, I mean, why? Again, we can get into like all the details about all that. But anyway, yeah, a lot of tragedy, a lot of death, a lot of fear. And the history, I remember 9/11. I remember I was in high school as well. I remember going into the classroom. I actually saw the first plane hit when I was at home before I went to school. It was just on the TV, and like I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Because I have family in New York, so I was like, "Oh my god, like what's going on?" And my uncle works out there, like I have cousins out there, so following the news, like freaked out, like what the hell's happening? And then I remember went to school, but it's like a brief little interim. It was like 5 minute walk, and then we saw like they put it up on the news, and it was like the one time where like they were like, "We're cutting school functions to everybody just pay attention," and so what the hell's happening here? What is going on? It's panic, bro. Like, and then of course you get the stories that come out afterwards. You're like, oh my god, this was like world shifting, and you could see it in the policies, legislation, everything that came after.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are West Coast. I'm East Coast, right? So when it happened, I was in class. I was in study class. I think it was my sophomore year. And I'm just hanging out, being an idiot like I was in high school, hanging out, and all of a sudden someone's like, "Turn on the TV." And we're like, "What the heck?" And all of a sudden, we're watching, like they got the news on, and we saw the second one hit, and you're just like, what is happening? Like, what is this? Right. And little did we know in that moment how much that turn of events was going to impact our lives for the next 5, 10, some people even 15 years, right? With how long we were caught up in those conflicts and everything. And, obviously after the fact later, there's questions of what really happened, right? We don't need to go down that road, but it was just such a, at that time, it was one of those things where, you're reminded when these things happen of how much tragedy brings people together. And I do remember, it really uniting people. It's terrible to say that tragedies can bring that out. They can bring out the best in people. But you also want to say, like, why do we have to go through that? And
Right.
but that's one thing I do remember is the time after, where it was like everyone was really proud to be an American, and there was so much support for people. It was it was a crazy time. It was a crazy time is really all you can say about it.
Yeah.
Back to your point before I send it back to Rick, we're still sort of entangled in all those conflicts around, in the Middle East. We're still there. We're still dealing with the same stuff, still talking about the same stuff. So we're still there. And
100%. I remember that when I'm a little younger than you guys, and so I was in elementary school, and I remember the first one hit, and I was on my way to school, and it was Kogo Radio 600. My mom was listening, and that was like a panic. And then I got off, and then I kept talking with some of my friends about it, and then I heard another one hit through the grapevine, and then they canceled school. We all went home early, and I really saw the panic on everyone's faces, because they just didn't know what that meant for them and their families and their loved ones. And so flash forward 20 plus years later, we're seeing the effects, and we're seeing obviously the tragedy of Charlie Kirk yesterday was the most gruesome assassination I've seen at a school, especially in front of students, and especially what he represented when it came to freedom of speech and being able to vocalize your opinion, and be able to do it in a civil way, with grace and poise, the way he would. I think he was definitely a generational character, and someone that had the potential to even be president one day. So because of that threat, I could see him as a prime target, because he had the most potential. And unfortunately, him going out the way he did, I hope that it emboldens more, freedom thinkers like us, to actually speak up more, and not be afraid, because that's precisely what the enemy wants, is to strike fear into everyone's eyes, that you can't speak up and say what you feel. And yeah, it's just a tragedy for him and his family and his children who were there to witness it all. And so it's very traumatic, and I hope and pray that everything goes well for him and his family, and for the movement, because I think that what they're really trying to do is incite some type of civil war. And I think on Charlie's side of the aisle, they need to really have composure in this moment, to be able to try to use this as a unifying message to really bring people together, more than divide and conquer, which is really what a lot of people outside of these countries' walls would like to see happen. And so it's just unfortunate, just very unfortunate.
I'll say as a follow-up, because that whole conversation is like really complicated and tragedy indeed. Like, having the kids there is just like the thing that I just can't really get out of my head. Is like, what if, I'm 6 years older than he was 31, right?
31, yeah, my age.
I'm 7 years older than he is. So I'm just like, dude, just that. Anyway, I will say this. I did not always agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said. There is plenty that I disagree with him about, but I would never have silenced him. He definitely should not have gone out like that. That was terrible. Like, you want to go debate the guy? Go debate him. You want to go talk? You want to show how your ideas are superior? Great. You're on a college campus. Go get it. But the whole orchestrate. It seems very orchestrated. This whole thing about how they can't catch the guy still, and we can go down the road of conspiracies. But I just got to say, man, like, I don't care if I disagree with people. Like, I disagree with plenty of people in the crypto space. That's just not the type of discourse that we need. Like, we need to work together, sometimes at odds, sometimes literally as rivals. That's okay. Like, you need your opposition right? God needs the devil, right? There's this like
Yeah.
we have this duality to our being, and
Mhm.
opposition is good. It refines you. It makes you stronger. Diamonds are made under pressure. Like we need that back and forth,
Push and
and
pull.
I just don't. I can't vibe with it. Like there are people that I know that are a little more left leaning that are like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, what? No, like,
Celebrating.
that's
Yeah.
terrible. Like I don't care. Cenk Uygur from the
Young Turks.
the Young Turks, he had what was one of my favorite reactions to this whole moment was like, yo, seriously, this was a human being. Like, knock it off. That's terrible. Like,
Right.
his family, like and I get it. People bring up like, well, wait, he was talking about these other things and like demeaning people in this other way, and none of that matters. He shouldn't have been murdered like that.
Right.
Like,
Because freedom of speech.
yeah, exactly.
And that's really what's, you know, being assaulted here. And that's
Our
what I
freedom.
wish that those people celebrating realize, you know, because they can silence someone who's as influential and most impactful on the college campus and with the youth. What does that have to say about you and me? We have no chance, you know. And that's the scary part, you know. We're living in a matrix, and the system is coming after people, you know, that are making an impactful change. And yeah, a lot of people may not agree, you know, but in the end, there's just as many people that do and see the vision of what, you know, he stood for. And I think that his legacy will live on, unfortunately, as a martyr. But, you know, I would have much rather had him as a leader, you know.
Yeah, I think mental health is clearly a serious problem in society today, and there are a lot of reasons I feel that have led to that. You know, I think when we look at, you know, nutrition in this country, you know, we're not being nourished the way we used to, which is important for your mental health. Our school systems have been, you know, declining for a long time now. The attention parents pay to their kids, the growing of us having our faces buried in social media, which is constantly fighting for your attention by triggering your emotions, whether it's happiness or sadness or fear or anger, whatever it is. We're being prepped constantly to be triggered and pulled because of emotional responses, and all of it builds into something that I think is a problem. And this is only one of those things that continues to pull us, right? This pendulum swing, right? The further the middle is getting pulled away from both ends, the extremes, and those are the ones we always see. And the middle seems to be getting smaller and smaller all the time. And I think, you know, me and Rod, you know, really take pride in. Normally wouldn't speak for Rod, but I will in this case. We take pride in trying to create platforms and spaces and places for people to come in and have constructive conversations where it's not about emotion. It's like, let's have good, constructive dialogue, like what Charlie tried to do. Whether you agreed with him or not, he would listen and he would have it out. And, you know, like I'm with you, Rod. He wasn't my favorite person. I didn't agree with everything. I respected the way he tried to do it, right? And using logic and reasoning and approaching it from let's talk, right? We might not come to the same result and agree on everything, but we might find some middle ground there. And if it's at least based in some sort of logic and reasoning, we can respect each other's opinion as much as we disagree. A lot of people just aren't capable of doing that. And unfortunately, many people operate under emotion way too much. So hopefully at some point we can figure out a way to just cut this shit out. Let's be honest, man. Like, we need to have more constructive dialogue and be okay with not agreeing with each other all the time. It's okay. Yeah. We don't have to agree on everything. It's okay.
Now I'm gonna throw something in that's a little controversial, and I actually want you guys' take on this one because it's crypto related.
Ooh, spicy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys saw what happened on Solana, right?
What happened?
Which thing?
Charlie Kirk.
Oh, the Charlie coin that's coming out?
They were launching. There was like 4 of them. Which one were like the one that hit 11 mil?
I mean, I just looked at an image of a trading chart, like a bunch of coins, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I get it. Like pumped up fun, pumped out fun, showed
Mhm.
the fucking debauchery of human beings and like
Let me
how,
guess, it's pumping.
yeah, I mean they
Oh, of
did,
course,
right?
yeah.
Like of course they did. So and of course some will say it's a support coin for the person. I'm like, is it really? Because where's that money going to? Like, are you going to visibly trace it and give it to the family? This is a whole. Or
Yeah.
are you seeking personal wealth off of this person's fame? Like,
You might be buying it to support him, but the person who made it is doing it because they know you're gonna buy it.
blood
Let's
rub
be
rub.
honest.
Yeah, and look, that type of thing. I'm just like, okay, look, that's that. I wanted to bring it up mostly to hear your guys' thoughts on it, but I think it's just an interesting byproduct of this ecosystem, whereby we can take ideas and tokenize them and memify them,
Mhm.
and I think
And get 'em
obviously
money.
there's enough hate there to try to memify the individual. Or disdain for his ideas, etc. But like, I don't know if it was a positive move or an attempt to demean or simply take advantage. But I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on it because there's really nobody else that I know that would understand. Like, this is a crypto token that was launched that people clearly aped into,
Yeah.
etc.
Well, you know me. I think our society is sick, dude. We're just fucking humans on money. And it's probably a mix of emotions. Some people just know it's in the news, so it's gonna pop. It's gonna become popular. It doesn't really take an extra brain cell to figure that out. It's probably gonna go up just because it's all over the place. But it's just the mentality of us humans. And that's why I have like my channel, right? About bad money, because you can see it everywhere. Like the incentive structure is all wrong. But yet crypto doesn't really understand it. Like we're still trying to be like money 2.0. And it's an interesting time because it's not just what's happening with Charlie, right? Like that's just one American, but kids are getting shot like that every day,
Two
all
kids
over
the
the
same day.
world.
Two kids
Yeah,
the
Right.
same day as Charlie.
it's happening
Mhm.
all over the world, and just seeing that image up close, I don't recommend it, but it was just like,
It's traumatic.
Bro, I
will
work
say
on
that.
a college campus. Just keep that in mind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, that
Correct.
shit is very real to me.
so when are we as a society going to recognize what the problem here is, which is money? And that's why I'm here in crypto, right? That's what gets me so excited, is that we get to reimagine how money works. And I don't think crypto people have figured all out it yet, because it seems like crypto's all happy that BlackRock is here. And look, fucking Bitcoin's pumping. I can pull up the chart. Gold's pumping. The stocks are doing great, but yet World War III is starting. We have Russia flying over Poland, testing us. Did you guys see that? That China had hosted Putin and North Korea and India. And you guys see all those missiles they have? And they're so advanced, dude. They can get the US in 30 minutes. They have hypersonics. And as far as I know, apparently we don't have them, which is like, where's our tax money going? Like, at least you think we would be beating everyone
I don't
in
know if
military power, but I
is,
don't know that I believe that anymore. I
is
don't think that America is that powerful. It seems like
that
our
facts
leader,
though? Is
I
that
think
facts,
so.
Razo?
I
Because
know like America has like top secret hypersonics, but as
we
far
just
as I
spend
know,
so
we don't.
much, bro. We spend like 10 times what other countries spend on just military spending. So I mean, I don't know that I fully buy that other countries would have superior weapons to America.
I hear the military experts, and apparently, as far as we know, we don't have hypersonics. Although maybe there's some secret project that we don't know about. Maybe we have some secret weapons that we haven't used yet. But it seems like the war is just heading into World War III, and I don't think. I think that all humans sort of know this. That's why we have these movies like Terminator. We always known what the problem is. It's us humans and money, and these people that are obsessed with power, who think that they are better than us humans. And when we look out in the world, you see the effects of this affecting us humans, and even in these little things like meme coins of Charlie Kirk and people just trying to make money, because money is the only thing between us and everything we want. And that's why I don't know. That's why I get excited about, especially talking about crypto people, because crypto people get this right away, especially when we were at the Cardano thing. They all had that like that spirit that drove people into Bitcoin. I think that like revolutionary spirit of fuck the man, fuck the system, fuck the government. Right after 2008, our government decided to bail out the banks, right? And these fuckers gave themselves bonuses. And it's just like, yo, and then who's paying for that? Us. Who's paying for all these wars? Us. It's just like, and it's both sides. So it's like Americans need to come together now. And the only thing that unites us all, we have to realize, is money. And I don't know, man. It's just, I think we're just humans on money, man. Yeah, did I tell you guys about the monkeys and the money studies?
No.
No,
They
they
start
haven't-
acting like,
I think you did go over
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Here's what I will say though, Rod, to your question about, you know, people monetizing some of the news events that come out. You know, like one of the things that I teach my students that I'm coaching and going through the crypto onboarding program is the whole concept of buying the rumor and selling the news, right? And it's a common thing for us crypto degens to know that term and that phrase. But to the new person coming in, they don't realize that everything is cyclical and it runs off of the same news cycle. So you can anticipate certain catalysts based off of, you know, news events that are coming and happening. And when you look at meme culture, when you have a big event that shocks the world, and there's a meme coin that is built around that same concept, the ability to get in quicker really is a big benefit, because when liquidity floods into these projects, you can be able to make a lot of money very quickly. But what goes up usually comes down just as fast with the shitcoin world. And you can never really anticipate which one is going to take off, you know, with there being multiple Charlie Kirk tokens and one actually really reaching, you know, tens of millions, you know. And so there's a lot of people that got in when it happened and when it was launched, and it was launched on Solana, and a lot of these Solana users were able to take advantage of that information. I know some of my clients or students, you know, had told me like, hey, I got in and put in, you know, $100 and it ended up going to like $500, you know, and then I ended up, you know, taking out maybe 200, you know, and they were like, we were able to capitalize on that news event, you know, a tragic one, of course, you know. And that was one thing where, hey, when we look at our portfolios, we have to be objective, you know, and it's not one side or the other. It's just, how can we make profits, right? And how can we make our money move, you know? And it's really the love of money that is the root of all evil, right? And it's that greed that really is born out of it in how we take our actions. And so I think we as human beings are the flawed creatures, you know. That's where, you know, we are capable of just as much as negative as we are positive in bringing our own worth and value into this world. And so we always have to have that check or that discipline on ourselves to always be the highest versions of ourselves. But in doing so, you know, we grapple with others who are easily tempted, you know, and give into that temptation and unfortunately fall to their emotions, you know. And that's what I really think is a real flaw, because our emotions are guiding, but they can also be deceiving, you know, because they're rooted in the heart. And that's why I believe that you need to have brain and heart coherence with every decision you make, especially with your portfolios. And that's the mindset that I kind of try to cultivate with my students, because it's like, hey, buy the rumor, sell the news. Let's be objective. Let's hedge our bets, and let's make sure that we diversify accordingly to make sure that we can really get the proper appreciation and limit the amount of risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Go ahead,
You know,
Paul.
I'm going to bring in a concept that feels super bizarre, but I promise it has a purpose. The reason something like communism or socialism doesn't actually work is because human nature, there's always people who are not just going to go with the plan, right? Like we are a species that tries to get as much resources as we can, right? And you'll never prevent that. Right. And it's funny because when we think about crypto, one of the ideas here is this idea of we're leveling the playing field. Right. And I think about how, you know, some of the issues we have with society and with finance is how exploitative certain industries can be. Right. The medical industry, the insurance industry, certain industries where you're legitimately profiting off of the suffering of others, creating an incentive for it to happen. Well, aren't we kind of seeing the same thing with this now? Now we're seeing regular people are able to exploit suffering and terrible things for gain on this scale. You know, I didn't really think about it until just now, and it's like we have kind of leveled the playing field in a way, but in a way that we didn't mean to. This isn't.
Well,
I don't
it's
think
a
this is the
democracy
goal.
in this way, you know, and in an absolute democracy, people are sending their money or their crypto towards whatever it is that they believe in at the moment, whether if it's accurate or not, you know, and so it's really winning over the opinions of the masses. And that's really what everyone's been pushing towards. And that's why, you know, America's special, in my opinion, because we are a representative democracy. We are a republic. You know, we do represent, you know, the democracy on the local level, but on the national level, we have some filtration, you know, that we can have, you know, the leaders really deciding, you know, the direction and be able to filter the good ideas from the bad ones. Right. And in the communist society, it's really whatever the dictator says goes, and you're at the whims of his emotions, you know, because it's been a while since we've seen a female dictator.
Well, to me, capitalism and socialism are just two different rule sets on the same game of money. And it's not so much about socialism and capitalism, because I believe with crypto, we're actually in the future, it's going to be more like centralization versus decentralization. And it seems to me like we need both capitalism and socialism and centralization and decentralization. But to me, it's more like who controls the money, because in a socialist country, there was still a few people that controlled the currency, and it was passed down to other few people, right? And same thing in capitalism. And that's really the problem. And I think that money has actually, it's interesting that you said that you think about your mind and your heart, but I think that money like disconnects our hearts from our minds, because you see people at the border and you feel for them, but at the same time, you don't want to pay more taxes. So it's like the separation between your feelings and your logic. Like, yes, I feel for you, but this is the real world, and this is just how things work. And sorry, Amazon, that we can't fix you, but you know, it's just capitalism or whatever it is, right?
Well,
So I
when
don't
you
know.
think,
To me, it's an
think about
interesting question.
what drives anything living, right? It's recreating and keeping yourself alive, right? Those are the drives. And if you can tap into anything, like money equals resources, money equals security. And as soon as that becomes threatened, that hits you in a primordial level, right? Like you're getting to that fight or flight baser instinct. Oh no, you're threatening my ability to live the way I feel I need to. Now all of a sudden my humanity, I might have to push that aside a little bit if I feel like my life, my well-being, my family is threatened, right? So we see it, people playing on those emotions all the time. These people are going to take what you have. They're the bad guy. They want to take what you have. They want to hurt you and your family, right? Playing off people's emotions to bring this all full circle, right? It's all they're doing is constantly trying to manipulate your emotions, because if you can manipulate people's emotions, you can control them. And if you can convince them you're on their side, they'll follow you.
Right. And I would say, like, you know, if we take it from a paradigm of centralization to decentralization, if you just take all of those political ideologies and you strip them back, and you just look for one point, is like, what is their policy and their core purpose? They'll say centralize the power in the hands of the state. And so me as a crypto evangelist and a crypto enthusiast, I am an anti-statist, right? So I don't really want to centralize anything in the hands of the state. And when you look at socialism, it's the road to communism, you know, which is the destination. And so that's just the road to centralization. If you look at fascism, it also has the same policy, you know. So for me, I would put all of those in the camp of the left. If you would put no government on the other extreme, you'd get anarchists, right? You know, who believe in no government, and the libertarians over there, right? And the conservatives over there who are more moderate, you know, and capitalism is really what is going to allow us to produce and create more of a bigger pie, right? You know, where there's more resources to go around, because what capitalism produces, socialism consumes. you know, and there's only a select amount of scarce resources, you know, going around.
Well,
you know,
my idea of good money, right? I said that I combine socialism with capitalism. What did you just say? That socialism what?
Socialism consumes what capitalism produces.
Okay,
You know?
so what if we connect those? And what I'm saying, instead of a bankers creating that money, you create it so socialism feeds the capitalism society. That's what good money is. It's like things that we vote on. So like firemen, policemen.
And I realize that like there's two types of people, producers and consumers, and majority of people are consumers, right? But at the same time, too, there needs to be more producers, and we need to incentivize more producers to come about.
Okay,
you know, and so that in order for there to be enough of a pie to go around. You know,
what about robots and AI, bro? What about the robots and the AI?
And that's the technology. The only thing that can shift the supply curve of economics, the only thing that can shift that pie outward is technology and innovation. You know, so I'm with you on that, and that's what I believe is what is going to increase abundance, where we can then potentially redistribute to those who don't want to produce. You know, and that's the reality.
Yeah, everyone can't produce and everyone can't consume. Like the goal of society is to find the right balance where the cycle is self-sustaining and it works and it offers opportunity to everybody, whatever they want. And as you know, obviously society, we try to build it in a way where, you know, we all give a little bit for the security and the safety of the society, right? That's why anarchism is a little like it's out there the same way the communism is out there for different
100%.
reasons, right? You have to find a way to meet that middle ground. And I think that's always the goal of society. Unfortunately, with human beings, when you get the emotions in, that's when you get the pendulum swings, right? That's when you see moves to dramatic things like Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, and you see, dictatorships and all these types of things, North Korea, because the emotions let it get to a certain point where there's no return. And now you have to wait for the next major thing to happen to probably go to the opposite pendulum swing, and you're back fighting a similar battle, but it's the opponent looks a little different.
You know what you're reminding me about when you said about safety is that Benjamin Franklin quote where it says, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety."
They won't get either of them, because in the end, when you're sacrificing one, you're never going to have it. You know, you're never going to have freedom if you constantly are giving up your rights, you know, because you're scared of some future event, you know? So that's why it's like, I see that, you know, we need to double down, you know, in times like these, you know, and, you know, you look at, you know, I'll bring it up one last time, but just Charlie Kirk getting murdered, you know, it's like, we need to double down on freedom of speech. We need to double down on talking more and having more debates and more arguments around, you know, everything from money to politics to this to that, and nothing should be off the table. And I think that that's vital for growth to really happen, especially the growth that we're trying to be a part of, you know?
Yeah. You know what else? So to bring it, so Buckmeister Fuller, another sweet quote right here. This reminds me of crypto because it's, to me, this is what I'm trying to do. But it says, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And I think that's what crypto is really trying to do, especially me and Rod here are ADA fanboys, because I believe they're basically building the first digital government ever. And I fucking love it because ADA, the currency within Cardano, because Cardano is not just a currency, it's a currency, it's internet, it's identity, we're going to be able to vote in there, right? We're going to be able to cut out a lot of the middleman. And it's amazing that we have this new technology while we have robots and AI coming for our jobs. So at the same time, there's like BRICS, which is like China and India and Russia. They're dumping the dollar and they're buying up the gold. We can pull up the charts. It's just like blasting. So, and our politicians are like thinking about the next 4 years. while China and Russia are thinking like 20, 30, 50, 100 years in advance. And our politicians just care about the next election. And I think like it seems like we're going to lose this game. It seems like our politicians don't know what's about to hit us, and we got robots and AI. And I think that's why we have this. I think it's cool that we're starting this channel. But again, the thing with crypto, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When it comes to AI, though, I want to give you a little pushback because there was something that happened in the last like week or two that, you know, many people kind of, I feel like it didn't get enough publicity, so they maybe didn't hear about it. But Trump actually had at the Oval Office all of the tech billionaires. You know, he had Mark Zuckerberg there, he had Bill Gates, you know, he had the Google CEO as well. And they were all talking about how much they were pledging to bring back into the United States, right? 600 billion here, this and that, right? They were all talking about how many billions they were bringing and the jobs and the growth. But he said everyone there at the table were foundational for winning the AI race. And to give perspective, what he said was that they want to actually allocate 10 times the amount of money that they dedicated to the Apollo moon missions to winning the AI race, right here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then side by side with that, I follow the SEC extremely closely because I'm tokenizing real estate, right? And I'm watching, you know, what is the SEC doing to really kind of bring this into the new age? If you go on to the SEC chairman Atkins' X profile about a week ago, he posted, you know, how it's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's pinned on his profile, Project Crypto for the SEC. And then he's literally making the amendments to the rules in crypto for tokenization that I've been basically stating to the rest of, you know, the world that this is what will allow us to tokenize. And so I think we're getting our ducks in a row. You know, I know that public sentiment may feel like, you know, we don't got it here in America because we haven't. However, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, and it's a new light for cryptocurrency and Web3 here in America. And I really am hopeful, but it's not. I had an old boss that told me hope is not a strategy, Rick. You know, and I believe that. You know, I'm hopeful that that's what is happening, but I think that all of the data points that I've been watching leads to positive bullish catalysts here, especially in the short term, going into the new year. And yeah, a lot of people haven't awoken to it, unfortunately. And
I don't really know I don't know what it means like to win the AI race. I'm more concerned about the jobs because like, what about transportation? Isn't transportation the number one job, like 30% of jobs? So even if you destroy half of those with self-driving semi-trucks and drones and shit,
we cannot anticipate the new industries that are also going to be created.
Programmers are like graduating right now and working at Chipotle.
No, it means that you are the one to reach artificial superintelligence. That means winning the race. Mm-hmm. Artificial superintelligence is the goal.
But the chances we lose either way, right?
Well, look, I told you guys I just came back from a conference. Let me just give you a few little facts.
Rod's our guy. He's our AI guy.
On stage, right? One of them is huge. 116 colleges are now 2.1 million students are being served at these 116 colleges. And these students will now have access to Gemini for Education by Google, Notebook LM, and Google Career Certificates and AI training at no cost. Now, you know, there is that whole conversation about when there is no product.
You are the product.
Now, that makes sense, right? You have all of this data that's going to be coming in from the students who are going to be using this stuff day in, day out. And now that now there is this whole thing about, is the education version going to be preserved from all of that? Like, can we FERPA compliant, right? Keep it private, don't use it to train your bots type of thing. Those are the conversations being had now by people who are in the discourse. They know the language. Like you know how to talk about this thing because you understand it's not a passing fad. As far as like AI policies and stuff like that, like, I mean, we're basically leading the charge in California. like California's. This was part of Gavin Newsom's report at the summit because he gave like a little video report. He wasn't there, but it's basically like AI. We're doubling down, tripling down. Like AI is. He said we already are the major AI hub, California specifically, and that under him, like he intends to keep it that way. Basically, like we're gonna stay ahead of this race. And yeah, he's got deals in place with all the main AI players, and there's a lot there. So,
but talk about the jobs.
Well,
let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. I mean, AI is the new nuclear bomb, isn't it? I mean, this idea of what people can do with AI, you sure as hell want to make sure as a nation with an infrastructure that you're protected. And I would imagine they have to be terrified of this idea that these nations that want to see the US fall and collapse are going to be utilizing this super powerful thing and is going to figure out ways to take us down in a way more effective way than any human could. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this is beyond jobs or infrastructure. This is national security is what they're looking at. I have to believe, like, they might not be saying that publicly, but we get in some of these conversation rooms, you bet your ass they're having these conversations. Let's be honest.
I would ask for a follow-up on what Raza meant as far as what about the jobs?
I just don't think our politicians have a plan as to what's about to happen. I think over the next 5-10 years, we're going to lose more and more jobs. Like I'm already hearing about students graduating from fancy universities with degrees in programming, for example, and only being able to get a job at Chipotle. I'm an example, right? I went to UCSD. I'm a fucking mailman.
I lost my job. I
lost my job to a computer before AI, bro. I used to work at AMC. I was the booth operator, right? I used to make sure that the temperature was good in there, right? I would check that the sound levels were nice. I would open up that little window. One time I looked down and this girl was giving this guy a beach. I was like, oh shit. And then she looked up and anyway. So that was a cool job. But then they got this computer that just started the movies automatically on time, controlled the lights. And then I had to go sell popcorn. So you don't even need a smart AI to lose jobs. You don't need conscious AI to lose jobs. And something like transportation, I think is 30% of all the jobs out there. And you already have, remember when we went to Vegas, bro? We saw those self-driving cars. I hear the drones are dropping off food. And I don't see any new jobs in the horizon that are going to replace these old jobs. And there's no fucking plan. And how are people going to pay for the rent? And everything's getting more expensive.
Yeah, I think they're more worried about, they're not worried about where we work, as they're worried about, is Russia going to have some program to take down our entire infrastructure, right? I think that's what their concern really is. Right, we can agree if it's right or wrong, but I get what you're saying, but I think there's bigger picture things to look at beyond when we're talking about Russia and China and North Korea and all these countries, India, who's like, what, scam central. I mean, I watched this, hacker, whatever, the scammer Payback, and they got all these call centers with these hackers that are just, I mean, they're hitting up everyone everywhere, taking all this money. A new scam every 11 seconds, a new person, average $4,000 lost, something crazy like that. All these calls from
Coinbase every day.
It's insane, dude. We are all being bombarded constantly with spam calls, emails. All of the people we know that are elderly or not, maybe they have a disability, all are potential victims that we all have to be constantly reaching out to make sure, hey, you're not clicking this, you're not doing that, right? All these nations are constantly extracting from us, and it's a tough situation to be in for all of us, man. So, I think the concerns right now as a society are bigger than just what are we gonna do with our degrees? As much as it sucks for us,
right?
Man, if Russia and China pull off what they want to pull off, none of us are going to be working the jobs we want. Nobody is.
Right. But if it all collapses, there's civil war.
If it all collapses, man, that's the thing. They're trying to keep this thing going. They're trying to keep us going. That's the scary reality we don't really talk about. Is like everything
what it
here
is,
could
man?
all go down at any time.
It's hotter than it's ever been. That's for sure.
Dude, it's hot right now, huh?
It's on the spicy. There's too much shit going on around the world, dude. It's just like nuts. Like, what's happening?
No,
We've been at
yeah,
war, we've been at war my whole lifetime, dude. What the fuck?
right. I think it also comes down to mentality, though. Like, are we a product of our choices or a product of our environment? You know, and I think that do you have a locus of control that's internal or external? Because if you're the type of person that believes that, you know, you're a product of your environment, then you're always going to be a victim to that environment conditions, you know. But if you understand the information, you can forecast what's going to come. How can we monetize that information? The only way to do that is by taking action. So we know the data economy is coming. We know the AI economy is coming. We know the crypto and blockchain economy and Web3 is coming. What are we doing to position ourselves accordingly? And are we taking action? Because the masses are not going to like us, you know, and that's the harsh reality of it all. And they're the ones who are not adapting and therefore will die off, you know, because it is adapt or die. You know, it is survival of the fittest out here. And we each need to make decisions that will be conducive for our own portfolios and for our family and loved ones, right? And so we have to make moves and take actions, you know. And how can we level up? It's by taking action in crypto, by investing in these things that we're doing and trying to vocalize to everyone else to also take action into as well, because it is the only option that you have aside from what traditionally has been available to previous generations. And from what we can see, it's not going to outpace inflation. And the redistribution of wealth that our generation has been waiting for is happening. It's just happening on computers, happening on nodes, happening on miners. Yep. You know, so how can we get a piece of the pie and get a part of it for our loved ones? That's what it's really about. Because before apps existed, before the internet existed, an app developer position didn't exist, right? So jobs and industries were created out of the innovation and the evolution. The data economy is coming. How we monetize that data in the future is going to be the evolution, and how we can help others monetize their own data. That's how you could also provide services. And then on top of that too, if you're not producing data though, and you're just consuming, you're just going to be the eyeballs that are the consumers to the producers that are the ones that are actually creating, right? Which is why you and I are on this channel right now, starting to create more data, more information, more out there that really promotes what we're doing, what we have going on, and how we plan on taking action and adapting and taking control of our destiny, as opposed to just saying, woe is me, I'm screwed and fucked like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like everyone can do that, but it's like, then what? You know, you have to take action and make moves from that shitty position you're in, no matter what it is, you know. And everybody's got shitty positions, you know. They're struggling with debt because they're shackled to debt because that's what the system wants you to be. You know, they're stuck in the rat race in a job that is like, fuck, dude, I wish I wasn't here. Why the fuck am I here right now, slaving away for someone else just to get this paper so that I can have 3 hours at the end of my day to do whatever the hell I want? You know, and that's everyone's 9-to-5 reality, the majority of people, until they can exit, right? And they're looking at us like, what's my options? 401k, maybe a Roth IRA, you know, and they're looking at us. Why should we put it in crypto? And how is that a better option? And it's because of the appreciation. It's because of the mass adoption and the high demand that those 8 billion people have not joined us yet. And you're early to the party. So start building, because like if you're a developer who can't find a job, at least you have the skills to build. So don't tell me that you're not building as well until you find that job where you can build for someone else for money. Right?
Yes, it's a good point. It's a good point. I want to say real quick on the AI stuff and related to preparedness for these markets and the whole idea of like nodes that you brought up, like that was one of my first incentives for setting up the DRMZ stake pool node was residual income. It's a passive income play, right? You're supporting a network. You're generating that good money by supporting a network that you believe in. Okay, great. Like I'll maintain that. And I know that down the road as it grows, because my children will inherit it and all that stuff, like in our community that owns it, that co-owns it, will inherit, like they'll inherit what is my immediate bags, but the community gets to keep using the pool as long as it's available to make this good money sort of flow. Or you're supporting an ecosystem that's promoting Web3 education. I think that's exactly what we need in this moment. Like, right, imagine if we had the right academic tools and the right devs and the right support to make some of that stuff happen. Now, that being said, passive play, nodes, all about it. As far as skills that are necessary for 2030.
Yes.
Number 1, AI and big data. Number 2, like way down now. There's like an even field now. That one was way up there. Technology literacy. Creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, curiosity and lifelong learning.
Sounds like me, son.
Talent management, leadership and social influence, analytical thinking, systems thinking, motivation and self-awareness, empathy and active listening.
What jobs are these?
There's the top chart in a grid of 4. And on the right side of the core skills, so below those, we get more things like service orientation and customer service, still important. Resource management and operations. Those are steady skills that you should maintain. But the core skills were the ones that I mentioned up top. Now, that's just coming from this is employees considering core skills in 2025 and then thinking about what they were projecting into the future. So I think we're at a point where sort of software as a service can be in the hands of the AI builders, devs who can make stuff. Like I'm pointing right back to drmz.app, where you can go chat with Morpheus. Like that's a data collection bot technically too, although he just erases whatever you upload. That's not like long-term memory, but you can design systems that do that now and offer services to people from your AI dev work. Like it's making those things more available. So like you're saying, I don't see jobs appearing. Okay, how much would someone pay for a website? And can you go make one now because you have AI power to go make it? Like I made with Drew here, the drmz.app site. Like that's a self-hosted site, like because he can and because we could. And now, like, guess what? Like Remy doesn't have a solid website. We're like, yo, we can make one for you. Because that now you start to market what you can give to people. And if they need you for it, then that's where you can become valuable. And a lot of these these Web3 businesses, if you look at their design, their marketing, all that, they honestly will tend to go with free tools like Canva and stuff like that. Like we've done it too. But like now can you use the AI? Or do you work with someone? Let's say that's the job that Razo's doing, and we all have a need for what he's doing. Actually, we're 3 clients. Like that's just how it works. Like you have to go out there and find it, but we're all going to do the same thing out there, just grinding to get attention for ADA. So stake it with the pool. Do you have a better DAO? Stake that thing too, right? Like what, etc. I think AI is complicated, but can give us some access to new forms of income, whether you're a dev or you simply know how to sell the product that is made. And I think passive income is going to be a very important thing just in general moving forward. So I think this is going to grow. We're very much in a good space where those of us who are here already in the liquid staking space, and even some of the lockup staking, like, I had to lock up 10K vet to do my node there on the VeChain network, but that's fine. It's a long-term hold. Like I intend to do that. Like, okay, make these decisions then, but like, why do that? Well, because you're going to get that VTHO over time. And I know that this is a residual play and I'm not even going to think about it. And I'm going to tell my kids 5 years down the road, hey, go check out that wallet. And I don't know how much is in there, but it's yours. Right? Like maybe if I don't use it that much, but you know what I'm saying? Like we have options here. Web3 is our friend, but it requires education and more information, and just I think more workshops and more actual like hands-on stuff. Like we should start to do more of that locally for sure. But also like Polly is about to have a meetup with some other Cardano folks out in Chicago area. So like we're having this global cluster thing happening everywhere, which is great. So
yeah,
I'm hopeful.
To Razzo's point, I think we're already at the point where we're recognizing some of the shift in what jobs are going to be. And it's in the idea of what is the most valuable thing companies are looking for now? And it's attention. It's your attention. The less people have to do, the more free time they have, which means we see the rise of content creation. We see streamers. We see all these things. No, that's the jobs that are opening up for people, is like, how can you entertain people with the time that's being freed up because they're not doing all this stuff they used to, and I think companies recognize that. That's why they're really pushing, like they're trying to get our attention in a world where we have so many things at our disposal that we can be going to: podcasts, video games, YouTube channels, X Spaces, whatever, like just doom scrolling on TikTok and Instagram. I don't think that's going to stop. I think that's going to continue to grow and get bigger. And I think that is where the real jobs, if we're not talking about getting involved with AI and doing all this and that, like these tech things, being entertainers. And even then we can bring that back. A lot of them, they're using AI too, right? So even if you're going into there, these tools are going to be at your disposal to help do things that clearly, companies see your attention as the most valuable thing that they can get. And that's what they're going for. And I think that's going to be continuing long into the future.
I agree with all you guys, but what was I gonna say? But like in America, it seems like crypto is becoming like a left versus right kind of thing going on, especially
100%.
because Trump's kind of taking it, which I think is a smart move, right? Because I'm talking about BRICS and how they're dumping the dollar and they're buying gold. So I don't think we're going to win that game because they're already ahead of us. They were thinking about this before. We're not going to catch up. That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of cool that Trump's trying to change the game on them and trying to update the financial system. But I'm concerned about the way they're going about it, because it seems to be like a monopoly, because over the past 4 or 5 years, I've been telling people that crypto is just a scam, right? And so people are going to go to who the government say they should trust, which is going to be Coinbase, which is connected to Circle, which is connected to the USDC, which is connected to BlackRock. And we all know that JP Morgan owns fucking MetaMask. So the old world is here, right? But obviously we need to change the game if we're going to be able to survive this, because the war's happening not just with missiles, right? It's happening informational war, and it's like a network. It's a currency war, right? The dollar versus all these new currencies. They're trying to do a crypto too, but they're trying to back it with gold, and they think that's why they're buying the gold. Like, look, our money's actually backed by something. And as United States continues to print more and more money, they know that we're going to collapse. It doesn't matter if we vote for the left or the right. So the cool thing about crypto is that actually it should be a left and right thing, because it shouldn't be a left versus right kind of thing.
We got to work towards that.
And Hoskinson, I think, said it well, though. Like Hoskinson said it well. He said, like it had always been, the libertarian types, right? Usually kind of more the right, fiscally minded type of people would adopt, the freedom principles and crypto and decentralization and what it's all about. Problem is that, it had never been a left thing, because under the left, the Biden administration was demonizing crypto and they wanted to regulate it under the sun, under the Securities and Exchange Commission. So I think Trump coming in was, really the light that crypto needed. Unfortunately, Trump comes with a brand that half of America doesn't like, so now it's become a Trump thing when in reality it was always a right thing. And then the lefties just didn't understand that, hey, decentralization is actually on the other side of the aisle of your values and the way you vote, but it doesn't mean that crypto is not for you, and that's just the reality. Like they wanted to They wanted the SEC to call everything securities under the left, you know, and so without Trump, we wouldn't have a pro crypto president. And so that's why, left or right, Trump is the crypto president, you know?
Well,
But
it's
like,
same.
we wouldn't have had it without him.
Same like social medias. How many people won't use X because they hate Elon or whatever? People don't
Or
use
True
this or that,
Social.
or or whatever. Like, you know, this is the society we live in, where you will only utilize things that are attached to names that you're okay with. And if there's any association with anyone you don't like, nope, no support,
Falls on
no,
deaf
can't
ears.
do it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
out. You know, that's the society we're in.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a flaw on, you know, the industry, or even I think it's just a flaw on each individual, whether they're affected in that way or not, you know. And we can't sit here trying to convince the world. We're looking for the genuinely interested people that are open to evolving in this direction, because they're choosing to adapt and take action for themselves, you know. And I think that's a good place to end it, you know, because I think that we have a lot of opportunities, you know, in San Diego, lots of events with DRMZ, as well as, you know, my event coming up next week.
When? Next week?
Next week. Yeah, actually, it's gonna be fun, you know, and we're gonna start doing this, you know, more often. I know Rod and I are, you know, plotting, you know, potentially getting a new venue space, you know, that may be a little bit more central, south of the 8 in North Park, and collaborating there, you know, and there's a lot to come for sure.
Hell yeah, what we're actually doing. So definitely, what was the date for your event again, Rick, so that everybody can know?
The 18th from 6 to 9. And I just realized that it actually conflicts with us here. So maybe we might do something, you know, next week at like a different time. I'm so happy to keep, you know, the episodes going.
Yeah. And then we're actually doing the next DRMZ meetup at the Granada House location officially. So we'll be checking out that spot. I never got word back from the other spot, so I was like, you know what, the homie was already cool. Let's just go ahead and do one there. It's like a gallery and it has like a house attached to it. It's really cool. So we'll be doing that one on the 25th, the last Wednesday of the month. And actually today was the Bitcoin meetup, so I'm kind of conflicted with this too. But I was like, hey, we got to do the show. Right. So yeah, I do have to head off as well though. Like Rick. Apologies. Today is a little bit of a weird day for me. Like I said, I've been traveling a lot, got a lot of crazy things to take care of still. So,
and it turned to dark from the beginning. My bad, guys.
Nah, that was good. That was a good conversation.
Nah,
I think it was
great convo.
Yeah.
You know, and everything we do is out of love and compassion and just trying to get the word out, you know, to the people, and really just trying to showcase what crypto's all about. And it's really, you know, guys like us coming together, you know, wanting to take action and really wanting to change our stars. You know, that's what it's about.
Yeah. Final word, Polly.
Final word. Let me start. I just want to say it's time for America 2.0. And I think that crypto completely aligns with that. I think we got to stick our constitution into the blockchain. That way we can beat all these other countries, I believe. I think this is a tool. I think that AI and crypto are the tools of revolution X and all this. We just got to wake up to that fact. And we need to begin to use them to take our power back.
Yeah, baby. Get the power back. Love it. Polly?
Yeah, no, and I'll just say great conversation today. You know, I think we came in not knowing where it was going to go, but frankly, for me, that's always when I have the most fun, when I have spaces and stuff, is just go in and wing it and see what the conversation brings out. So great discussion today. I think it's a crazy time for all of us, crazy time for the world. But crazy for us. Make sure you're following, you know, each of these guys and myself, my YouTube channel at the Poly TV. You know, I got a bunch of stuff going on coming up. It's crazy times. Don't have time to get into it now, but follow me on the socials, and as well as Rod. You know, we got the Cardano Ministry and DRMZ Stake and Pool. Rick with the event. Looking forward to hearing in a couple weeks and the charts. Oh, you want to pull up the chart real quick? Here, we got the charts.
Oh shoot! No.
There you go. There you go.
Where is it? I got the charts.
Yeah,
no, I think
you just put it full screen
because I posted this on X really quick. And I said that if we break this yellow line right here, we start building support, it's party time. So everything's looking super hot. The dominance is dropping below my altcoin madness. Like, these are the doors. Look, dude, we're about to start collapsing. According to the line, son, we're going up. I don't know.
Hey,
That's all.
show them the V chain one. You got excited when you showed
Oh,
the V chain
V-chain.
chart.
V-chain is just beautiful the way it follows. So last time we came on, I drew this line. Look how we've been writing it. I like this chart. It's like really pretty. Look how it just follows these cycles. And then we hit this line right here. Bam. Anyways, I think altcoin season's around the corner, sons.
Let's go.
Get ready. Let's get it.
All right, everybody. Much love. See you guys next time.